We are live. What is going on, everyone? Thank you all so very much for hanging out with us. Anyone coming in at this time, thank you so much. Take your time out of your day to spend with us. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Jake? How are you?
I am good. 5 games straight in a row. I'll take it. Absolutely.
It was a nice little stretch. LeBron sat in the Denver game. We lost the Denver game, which happens, but we're still there. We're still like 2 games out of like the 5th seed or whatever. So we're literally right around the corner from being in the playoffs. Anthony Davis, which is a good place to start. So Anthony Davis, he's supposed to be coming back probably towards the end of this month. They're planning on working and ramping him up.
Yeah,
come back. Obviously, we'll see what kind of trades happen, which we'll dive into some trade talks here in a minute. But as far as like Anthony Davis and his health, we've talked about it before. He's the engine that drives the car, right? We have the car, we have all the pieces built. You need the engine. The engine you can't go nowhere without the engine. And Anthony Davis, to me, is that engine. If he can get healthy, stay healthy, and especially be healthy come playoff time, then I really think the Lakers can make some noise. But what are your thoughts on Anthony Davis and stuff like
that? No, I'm excited to have him back. We need him back. I really don't think salute S&M. No, but I really don't think we make it. Like I said, we don't make it to the playoffs for sure without Anthony Davis. Unless we go and do like a crazy sign deal trade. But no. Right now, how we're doing right now, testing people out, giving them people 10 days and things like that. Like I said, unless we get a really, really big name in here, without AD, we're not making it to playoffs. Like we need him back, like for sure. Like the sooner he comes back, the better. But my thing is, there's this too. Like the only sucky thing about coming back from an injury, especially like that, you're gonna have a grace period time once he comes back. It's not just gonna be like, oh, he's gonna come back, he's gonna be that beast, 30, 40 point game AD. We're gonna have to wait, a couple games. He's gonna have to fill himself out, or maybe not. Maybe he just rested long enough to where he's been running scrimmages. We don't know, what I'm saying. But I'm assuming that most of the time when you come back from an injury like that, you have to just,
you got to get back in a game ready.
And I'm not even saying we're gonna lose the first few games that he's in. It's just it's gonna be a little tough in the beginning. You know what I mean? We just, I don't think we're just gonna hit the races. It's gonna be and that's what sucks. We were on such a tear, but then he gets injured. So it's like pressing the reset button. And
but I mean, at least we're able to kind of weather the storm between then and now, right? Like it could have been really bad, right? We could have because we had some
lost every game.
Or I mean, we just not just that, but like even if like we had chances to win, like we had a lot of games that were same team in like a 5-game span. We played like Atlanta twice. Like it's hard to beat a team once, let alone 2 times in a short turnaround, because teams have made the adjustments. They've kind of figured out, what they can and cannot do, all of those things. Right. So it's just, it's going to be interesting to see, how we proceed going forward. Right. Like our next game is what against, our next game isn't against Houston. Don't we play somebody in that? But like I know Monday we play Houston, if I'm not mistaken, and then tomorrow
we got Dallas tomorrow.
We play the Mavericks tomorrow at home, right? I think
I'm so excited about.
Yes, if LeBron plays, I think that's a winnable game. I really do. Like I think if LeBron plays, we can beat the Mavericks.
He likes really, really playing against Luka too. Like against
Luka,
he
does. Because Luka's the closest in today's game to him, right? So it's like the old school versus the new school. Like let me show you. Like, I still got it. So LeBron usually likes to get up for Luka. So I do think that that's a winnable game. If we can win that, then we're right there. A good thing is that all the other teams just keep losing. Like all the teams we're trying to chase, they all just keep losing. So that's good too. So it keeps us in the standings. But if we can win that game and we can win the Houston game, now we're there. We're, because at that point, we'd be a game, I believe, out of 500. If we won the next 2, we'd be 21-22, which would basically put us in the like at least the play-in spot, if not the playoff spot. So we gotta win the next 2 games, because if we win the next 2 games, because right now we currently sit.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say?
No. I was just gonna say, granted, the Timberwolves and the Trailblazers and the Jazz maybe lose like a few games, maybe
Yeah,
1 or 2 games.
I mean it's very
Um,
possible. I mean,
well, yeah,
like
no, I mean they're not
right
like I said,
now,
we're right there with them. I mean,
we're half a game at a ninth. So
shoot, we're not far from the Warriors. The Warriors are 20-21 right now.
yeah, so we're half a game at a ninth, which
Yeah,
would be a play-in spot, and
yeah,
we're only 2 games out of sixth place.
yeah.
So literally, like, we go on a nice little run here. All these other teams
Man,
continue to struggle. We're there.
the
We're
West is rough this year, and not only are we there, we have a chance of if we get to the play-in, we have a legitimate chance of like making an actual run just because everybody in the West, if you look at it, I mean, because like you've seen how we matched up against Denver this year, everybody in the West is so equally matched that I feel like if we actually make it to the play on, get into the playoffs, we have a legit chance. Now that's with everybody healthy and with some of the pieces getting in here like we talked about. But
what's going on, Marcel? Appreciate you being
what's
here.
up, Marcel?
We'll get to some of the questions in a minute, but yeah, no, like like I even look, even if we don't make a trade now, ideally I hope the Lakers do make some move, and we'll touch on trades here shortly. But
I know
like
because there's
even if
been some rumors.
yeah, there's been a lot. Even if the Lakers don't make a trade, like I still think we have a shot to come out the West. Like if AD and LeBron are healthy, Russ, I mean, at the end of the day, you have it. Look, I've said it countless times. Like if you could jump into a time machine, jump into the future, and come back, and if you said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, dude, the Lakers won the championship," like I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would be that surprised because everyone would be like, "Oh, well, you still had LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, right?" Like I don't think anyone would be like, "There's no way, I don't believe it," all of that stuff. Like I
No,
just,
it's not that far a reach. I mean,
yeah,
depending on who we go against in the finals, because getting through the West is not the problem. Like we just talked about, it's not really
yeah.
the problem.
Boston and Milwaukee are the 2 teams that I really worry about. Like I'm
Yeah.
really not worried about anyone in the West. Like, does that mean that we'll just run through the West or whatever? No, not necessarily. Like I think there are teams that could be tough matchups or could just be tough, period. But I do like our chances in the West. I think the West is so wide open. All the top teams are the young teams, which I've said it. It's the same reason I said the Warriors were just going to beat all those teams because they don't have the experience, right? So when things start going bad for them, they panic, right? They don't have the trial and error of doing it. And like they don't have just that much talent to where it's like they're just so good. Like even if like they are young, like they're just, it's not the Warriors with KD, right? Where it's just
Yeah.
like they're unbeatable. So, and when it comes to the playoffs, the game slows down. The little ins and outs become more prominent. Your holes become more exposed, which is why I want the Lakers to make a trade. Like so many people are like, Lakers don't need a trade. They're good, all that stuff. And I'm like, but the Lakers have holes already. Those holes only get bigger in the playoffs. Because every team is going to get to see, and every matchup becomes harder and harder because teams are going to be able to adjust more and more and more to exploit those holes. So, but at the end of the day, you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You still have 2 top 10 players on one team. There's not many teams, if any, that can say that, right? And then you have arguably the 6th man of the year in Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, who's really kind of found a nice little balance of playmaking and scoring. And I expect him to continue to improve as we go on. Now, if you find a deal that makes sense for us, I still think you make that trade. But you don't just trade Russ just to trade Russ, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of talks about how, like from other teams' perspectives, the idea of Russ still hasn't changed. They want 1 first-round pick to take on Russ. That makes 0 sense if you're the Lakers. 0, because Russ is not a negative to you. And the reason that these teams want to take on and are willing to take on Russ's contract is they have their own personal motives that they want. Whether it's just the assets or they want to unload salary or they want to, whatever it is, they have their own personal benefits in it. Like example, the Spurs, which I guess we could transition to that. Like, so the Spurs trade, for example, there was a report from Spurs side, it's Air Alamo. And they talked about how like the Lakers and the Spurs have, discussed trade conversation. I mean, the Lakers and Spurs have been linked together since the offseason, right? But, they talked about how, you could get how the Spurs still want a first-round pick just for taking on Russ. It makes no sense, right? Because right now, the Spurs are valuing Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott both as first-round picks. That value is insanely high for them.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense, right?
Yeah,
Jakob Poeltl,
that's crazy.
Jakob Poeltl, they want 2 firsts for. Now, Jakob Poeltl, I think, is worth the first if he wasn't an expiring contract.
Not 2.
Yeah, I don't think he's worth 2. But, I mean, well, in the way that the big man market's been going this season, maybe. But he's an expiring contract. So, like, how many teams are going to take the risk on Jakob Poeltl? And most teams that are good already have a center. So it's like, and I mean, even the Lakers, like, they have Anthony Davis, and Thomas Bryant has been fantastic. So, why do you really need to get another center? My thing is, like, if you could get Jakob Poeltl, he makes sense. You can run him. He's never had a problem coming off the bench in spots if you want him to come off the bench. Not just that, but if you sign him to an extension, then you have him as a contract to move forward. And but like the biggest thing is that like the Spurs also need to get to the cap floor. They're behind in the cap floor. Now the punishment isn't really a punishment. All that happens is that money gets dispersed to all the players. But like if you can finagle some stuff and make some stuff work and get some free assets in the process, why wouldn't you? Because you have to pay that money regardless. So realistically, it should be, Russell Westbrook, 1 first and 2 or 3 seconds, right? Because we do have Chicago second this year. So maybe you give, the 2027 unprotected first. You give, 2 second-round picks for McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Jakob Poeltl. Then maybe you could take Jakob Poeltl and flip it. On my channel, I did a trade where like you could make it work to where maybe you could flip Jakob Poeltl into Miles Turner if you wanted to do that. I personally am not big on a center, but Jakob Poeltl would just kind of be an add-on. Or you take the trade exception, right? The trade exception, which would be like 20 if you don't take Poeltl. The trade exception is like 23 million, 25 million, something like crazy like that. So if you could get that trade exception, well, now maybe you could use that trade exception to go and then get some pieces or 2. That's something that I think could help as well. But what are your thoughts?
No. I will say too, and I'm not as big on a center anymore. I was like really, really heavy on like let's go get Turner. I thought it was a good idea, but I've been watching Bryant over these last like few games. Like, no, not anymore. Just because like right now it doesn't make any sense. If he can continue this play, especially when AD comes back, if he can continue this play, like I don't see why we need another center. Not at the moment. You know what I mean? I also don't think we should go get another just guard or like a small like guard because that's not going to do anything for us.
No, I mean,
unless you're just such of an insane scorer, like unless you, like you said, unless you got a Kyrie, which I'm not considering Kyrie like super small, but still, like unless you got like a Kyrie or something like that, just someone who's going to just offset it with the scoring load, it doesn't really, it would make more sense. But what you're saying is that you're saying even without a trade, you think that we could get through the West. Like this team right now,
this team
add AD back in, AD not injured, we're getting through the West. We're not obviously not guaranteed, but like
I wouldn't bet on it, but yeah.
No, I mean, just seeing how we fared up against like the better teams. Like let's look at the top teams in the West this year. We got the Nuggets, we got the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, the Mavericks. See, my thing is, I can speak for the Nuggets. I can't speak for the other teams because I don't know who we beat the other teams this year, but I know even just looking at how we match up against the Nuggets, they're the best team in the West this year. I don't really think that we're going to have that much trouble getting through. Now, I do think that we're going to have a few game 7s for sure.
I mean, but that's playoff basketball, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna have the good games, you're gonna have the bad games. I mean, like, look, no, I mean, you're right. Like, let's go through. So the Nuggets, we always just seem to have the Nuggets number, and I still believe we have the Nuggets number. Right, I think if we have a healthy LeBron and AD, I think we beat the Nuggets. Grizzlies,
what are we 2-1 or 2-2 against them right now?
Yeah, we're 2-2 against them. But you got to think one of those games we won without Anthony Davis essentially because that's the game he got hurt. The other game, the game we lost, one of the games we lost was when we were terrible and we hadn't figured it out yet. And then the other games we won. So like that's kind of where we're at. And then the last game was without LeBron, without AD, without So
exactly,
that was the big thing. So, like, I'm not worried about the Nuggets. The Grizzlies, I still think are too young and they're not there yet. And I think that they're too Ja reliant. And I don't know if he's the best player on a championship team. That's just my opinion. Pelicans, I think Pelicans.
Grizzlies are overhyped to me. Just my opinion. I think John Morant is overhyped. I mean, I'm not saying that like he's not a good player. I don't get the hype about John Morant. He's good. He really is. He's like a enhanced Jimmy Butler or something like that. You know what I mean? Just by pure force and athleticism, he's gonna go get you a bucket. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
He's the best. He's kind of like a modern Derrick Rose, right? Like, just pure athleticism,
explosive,
just explosive, all of those things. Like he's kind of like that. And I don't know. I mean, even then, even with Chicago, I mean, there were a lot of questions like, could Derrick Rose lead? Is he the best player on the championship team? But like the Pelicans, I think might be the toughest because Zion is a lot to handle. CJ McCollum, he has experience.
Zion, if he could stay in the game, I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, Zion could stay healthy. But I mean, CJ McCollum, he's a guy that could go off if you need him to. But he also has experience. He's been to the Western Finals, all that stuff. Brandon Ingram, I'm not really too concerned with. Like, I like Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram's good, but I don't think like
he's like a Kuzma. Like at this point, like I would love to have him back on the I would love to have him back on the team. But
I think he's good, not great, right? Yeah. And then and then other than that, I just think again their youth and experience isn't a problem. Dallas, I think we beat Dallas. I think like if you took Luka off of Dallas, Dallas might be the worst team in the league. Like they have like they don't really have a lot of talent. Like it's crazy.
No, that's true. See, and that's what sucks about having such a star reliant team. Like that, and that's what sucks because once that star, like if you're so reliant, like you can't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the Lakers are so like LeBron heavy, I guarantee we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. Like the Western Conference Finals wouldn't even be a thing. Like
so. Again, Mavericks, not really worried about. Kings, I think, are too young. Clippers, I don't believe in until you prove to me otherwise. The Suns are falling off a cliff. The Warriors are always the Warriors, so they're going to be tough, right? And very likely.
See, the Suns are the wild card this year. I'll tell you what, the Suns are the freaking wild because we don't know what's going to happen with the Suns. We don't know if they're going to play great during the playoffs. We don't know, because
here's the interesting question.
That's a team that could shock everybody. That's a team that I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on.
I'm really not worried about the Suns, if I'm being honest. But I mean, look, here's a good, not at all. But here's a good question.
They had our number 2 years ago.
Dude, the last time we played them in the playoffs, we should have won that series and went to another finals. If AD doesn't get hurt, we win that series.
Well, yeah, no, fair enough.
We were up 2 games to 1. It was looking like we were about to go up 3 games to 1. LeBron's making Jay Crowder look like his son, and it's just absolutely embarrassing.
That matchup was funny to watch.
It was absolutely embarrassing. We were just running through them, and then Anthony Davis got hurt, and it just gave the Suns new life. Like, okay, good. And then LeBron James just didn't have enough talent to keep them alive. But yeah, the real question is, if the Lakers do get in, which team does it? Because I don't think the Kings are gonna fall off. So that means realistically,
like which team doesn't make the
because I mean, look at it right now.
I'm not going to say the Jazz. I'm going to leave the Jazz out of that. The Jazz are for sure getting in. For sure.
So here's the thing. The top. So because there's only 8 teams that get to. I'm not talking about the play-in. I'm talking about the playoffs, right?
No, I know. Yeah.
So let's say the Lakers make the 8th seed, right? That means realistically, one of the Clippers, the Suns, and the Warriors are probably not in the playoffs. So which of those teams are not in the playoffs?
Or
I think it's the Suns.
Could the Kings fall so much that the Kings won't be in there either? That's another.
I don't think they will because they're young, they're hungry, they have a real opportunity.
But that's the thing. They had such a great beginning of the season.
They got a nice little cushion, right?
And mark my words, and this is where we're gonna see them start to fall. I'm telling you, watch.
They're really good at home. I mean, maybe, but I don't like because I think the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, the Nuggets definitely get in. I think those 3 teams
for sure.
I think those 3 teams are just too far away of everybody that they'll get.
The Mavs, and the Mavs, right? Yeah.
I don't know because look, Dallas has been kind of teetering between like play-in and playoff spots, and like knock on wood, again, knock on wood because I would hate for this.
I would rather play the Kings.
If Luka misses like 2 weeks, that team might not even have a chance to make the playoffs. Like.
Actually, I changed my mind. I was gonna say I would rather play the Kings, but no, I would rather play Dallas. I would rather play
Dallas too. I would too because they're too much live and die by the 3.
If you can neutralize like Luka, you're good. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
for the most part.
Essentially, but that's easier said than done. But
of course,
but
anyway, it's like saying neutralize Steph or somebody. But yeah.
Real quick, let's dive into some of the comments before we move on to some more of these trades. And real quick, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We got a good turnout here. I really appreciate it, or we would really appreciate it. I know many of you are from As It Stands Lakers, so show us some love here. This is mine and my buddy Jake's channel. So, sorry, I didn't even answer that question. Lonnie Walker, Pat Bev, Kendrick Nunn, and 2 firsts for DeMar DeRozan. I wouldn't want to trade 2 firsts, and there's no reason you should. Like, if I'm being honest, I think the Lakers would give up both firsts, but I don't think you should for DeMar. Like, because there's a lot.
I don't think DeMar is worth all that though. Like 2 firsts, Nunn,
you got to
Bev.
So
I'm okay with Nunn and Bev going, but like for 2 firsts, I don't.
So I made a video about this very trade where I talked about you could take Lonnie Walker, Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, and a first and move them for DeMar DeRozan if the Bulls decide to blow it up, which I think that is realistic. You get a young shooting guard that can kind of you could kind of grow and build with in Lonnie Walker. You move off of DeMar's salary, and then you get a first round pick in the process. If you can do 1 first, I would do it because you would still have Russell Westbrook. Now you could either move Russell Westbrook to get depth, or you could ride it out this season and have DeMar, LeBron, AD, and Russ. If you can't win a championship with those 4 guys, I don't know what to tell you. Like
yeah. After that point, like blow it up, like please, like because it just doesn't. Yeah.
If you can't win with that, I'd give up 1 first for Mo Bamba, and Terrence Ross. Ross has the same scoring potential as Boyan, and Bamba would be perfect stretch big alongside AD right now and on the future. See, the problem is they won a lot for Mo Bamba, and like Terrence Ross, you could probably get for a second or 2. Because the Magic have been trying to get a first for Ross for like 3 seasons now, and they just haven't been able to do it. So I don't see them getting a first for that. Bamba definitely could get the first, which is what it is. I mean, if that deal's on the table, I'd probably do it. But I just I don't know. I just think I just think other teams could outbid us for Bamba, if I'm being honest. Why do we need a center when Brian is balling? That's kind of my thought too. That's why I don't really want Miles Turner or anything. The only reason I would be willing to take a center is because, one, there's a lot. Are we really going to be able to keep Thomas Bryant beyond this season? That's going to be really tough because he's earned a contract, right? So are we going to be able to keep him long term? Is a real question. So if you did trade for like a Miles Turner or like a Jakob Poeltl or something, you're going to get him long term. Look, Thomas Bryant has been shooting so well from like the mid range and 3. You could play him alongside Anthony Davis, or if you went and got Miles Turner or Jakob Poeltl, you could play him alongside both. So I don't think if they got another big, I don't think it would be a big deal. But I do believe that they have bigger pressing needs, in my opinion. I think that they just have they need wings and depth more than just like, oh, we need another center. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. I like I said, I just turn around against with the Turner, so Turner heavy. See, that's another thing too. You got to think, how long are we going to have AD? You know what I mean? So, because the issue of Turner, like we discussed, is Turner needs to be the number 1 guy, and you can't really play them both because it's weird. You know what I mean? So my thing is, do you go get another center like Turner, or do you get another center like almost like another Bryant? You know what I mean? Someone who can play like the second guy, play AD sidekick. But my thing is, I think we're gonna see AD leave a lot sooner than we think. So I feel like you need a Turner, but just not right now. You don't need to make that move this season. I feel like you got to make it probably maybe next season. I just don't think it needs to be done right now, but you gotta prepare for when AD is gone for sure. But like you said, it's weird though. It's like you're between a rock and a hard place. What do? You can't really get a number 1 star center, because then what is AD gonna do? You know what I mean? It's rough. It's rough.
I'm now on the side of keeping Westbrook. I'll do more harm. It'll do more harm than good if we force a Russ trade. He's been playing great for us. Yeah, look, like if it really is just you have to trade, like you have to give up a first round pick for us to take on Russ, you keep Russ. Like if you can find true value for Russell Westbrook, like a deal where a team's like, okay, we'll take him because we like the Hornets deal, right? You're taking on taking on Gordon Hayward, taking on Terry Rozier. So now Russ isn't a negative for you because you're moving off of the salary. Like if you could do something like that, sure. But like if you can't find a trade for Russ, then you just don't trade Russ. Like because he's been really good for you this season. So it just comes down to like what's out there. Russ 6-man, facts. Trade none and a second for Reddish. Trade Bev and a first for Kuz. Trade Russ and a first Spurs portal or Charlotte Rozier, PJ Oubre for the Packers player. I would absolutely love that if that could happen. No, hey, you never know. I don't personally think we'll get Kuz for one first. I think if they're going to trade him, I just think other teams can outbid us with that. But you never know. I mean, if Kuz wants to come back, but Kuz has said some not very good stuff about returning to the Lakers in the past. Pop won't ever help the Lakers. He won't help the Lakers, but he's helping himself. And Pop did say that he believes the Lakers draft picks are the most valuable picks there are. So Terrence Ross is greater than Rich Sim, Obama, better than Jakob Poeltl. It just comes down to price and what is actually available. Like, will they actually trade Mo Bamba? And will they actually Terrence Ross? I think they would trade. Doug McDermott has a bad contract. Doesn't Doug McDermott's contract expire? Or no, he has the same contract as like Buddy Hield in them. But I mean, you're going to sign him long term anyway if you do the trade. What's up, man? Did you see Levine's shot just now? I would take him for Westbrook 2 first. Peanut butter jelly sandwich. If only. I don't think we'll get Levine. I think DeMar DeRozan is a real possibility, but I think Zach Levine
is heavy on the rumors right now. There's been a lot of rumors about Levine.
The Knicks could outbid us easily, and so and the Knicks would give whatever it took to get Zach Levine. So if Chicago actually decided to trade Zach Levine, which I
don't understand, why would you do that? Why if you're the Knicks, why do you do that when you don't have the pieces around Zach to really make a run? At that point, what's the end goal there? You know what I mean? I don't get that. I don't. If you're the Knicks, it doesn't make sense. If you're us, it makes way more sense than if you're the Knicks, because you just said they would give whatever.
The Knicks would be pretty good with Zach Levine because you'd have.
I'm just saying because you're gonna give up Randall, right? Like,
no, you probably keep Randall. You probably give up the young guys. It's probably a package.
If you could keep Randall, then it would make more sense.
But. Yeah, it's probably like a package of the young guys and like Evan Fournier just to make salaries work, and then you give up 5 first-round picks because the Knicks have like a treasure trove of picks, and now you have Jalen Brunson, Zach Levine, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell. Like that's a pretty good starting. But you're one of
sorry. If you keep Randall, I didn't know you're talking about keeping. If you keep Randall, then I like.
No, they would keep Randall because I don't know why Chicago would want Randall because if they're rebuilding, they're rebuilding. So you probably do something like Grimes, quickly, and then like 5 first, and you have to include Evan Fournier to make salaries match. So 3-team deal: LA, Indy, New York. Lakers get Miles Turner, Cam Reddish. Pacers get Bryant, Hoosier, Bev, none first, and New York takes these and a first. I don't know why the Knicks would get a first for that.
I don't like that
for taking on Daniel Tice's contract, but I still don't. Where's the first coming from? Suns need to lose today, and that'll be a good night. Agreed. We need that to happen for sure. There's no way they can make it to the Western Conference Finals with that roster. Never say never. Never say never. You still have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. AD needs help up front. Careful with Bryant, though. His spots are the exact same as Davis' spots. May not share the floor as well as Turner could. MT 5-year playoff experience versus TB playoff virgin. Yeah, see, look, like that's my concern too with like playing 2 bigs along Anthony Davis, but you can make it work. You have one down low. It's just finding the right sets. Mo Bamba gives us better defense, 3-point shooting than Thomas Bryant. Potentially, yeah.
There's an obsession with Mo Bamba. I mean, he's good, but I don't know. That's another one I think is just a little.
John Morant is so overhyped. He can keep the gritty Memphis juice unless he wants to be like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Lakers Nation, a little overhyped.
Yeah. Miles Turner out with back spasms tonight. LA Future Knicks smashed the Pacers. Hopefully, I mean, I'm not big on the Miles Turner trade, but like I said, I wouldn't be upset with it if the price is right. LeBron to Golden State, for all the young guys. I don't think Golden State would ever do that. Terrence Ross could be the Lakers' CJ McCollum. I mean, it's very possible. I like Terrence Ross a lot. I would even if they just go trade for Terrence Ross. I just don't think we'll be able to trade for Mo Bamba. I just think there's too many teams that could outbid us for a young center like that. But I disagree. Dallas has a good team. Without Luka, I'm telling like that team is not very good. That team has no standout number two. It's a bunch of like role guys, like and shooters. Like I don't know. I think if you took Luka off that team is terrible. I'm getting tired of hearing Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. They're not Batman around me. I don't think Buddy Hield and Miles Turner make as good as people think. But I mean, you never know until you know. Good evening, fellas. You know I want what's best for the team. I got faith. I'm with you, Storm. We're with you. Absolutely. Dallas is underrated. They got 38% three-point shooters and 135% three-point shooter. Dallas has the eighth highest payroll in the league, which is crazy to me. Because they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
But Dallas roster is similar to Denver. I think Denver has better standouts. But the amount of hopium being spewed is crazy. Hey, sometimes you got to have hope. Someone said Booker is a glorified Van Fleet.
That is hilarious.
That's disrespectful. I don't know about that. I like Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is a little overhyped too, but like he's not. I mean, come on, he's better.
Okay, all right. Here's the thing. All right, I thought this is funny. Really quick take on Devin. No, I thought he was overhyped until I saw him in that series against us 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, this kid's the truth. But here's the thing. Yeah, no, don't do Booker like that. Van Fleet.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but SM, like, I mean, look, Doug, I mean, maybe Doug does forget how to shoot. I mean, that's a possibility. We see a lot of guys do that. But I still think the Hornets deal is the best deal if you're going to do the deal. But if you get Doug, he's a solid 3-point shooter. We need guys, period. Hopefully, even if he just drops to average, it's better than nothing. Jazz falling, Warriors will make it. I could see that happening, absolutely. Blazers, Jazz, Wolves, Kings, or Clippers will fall. Kings are so up and down. I don't know. Yeah, but I just think that they're good enough to stay in where they're at. I don't care if Jazz want to do Clarkson and Vanderbilt for a first. I'd see if they want to do Vanderbilt for a first. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that that's enough. Like if you're gonna give up the first, I don't know. I mean, Clarkson's been a headache lately. Now, is that just because he's in Utah? Possibly. But I don't know. Clippers will be better. They've taken Jackson out of the lineup. Yeah, dude, Clippers are just all over the place right now. I enjoy hearing you guys debate. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're here. And again, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. We got quite a bunch of people in this live stream. Greatly appreciate it. We get a couple more subs. Trying to grow the channel here. What are you smoking? Oh, somebody talking about the trade up there. The Nuggets will be in the Western Conference Finals. Probably. I think so. Thank you, Sammy. Yes, that is right. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel.
It is.
Only a second. We'd greatly appreciate it. More like Lonnie Nunn in a first. Do DeMar plus Russ, no space. Sigh. Yeah, but you could run a lot of like pick and pops. And Russ penetrating and kicking out. Like you could do a lot. It's just the play sets. Terrence Ross is not a good defender. He is not. But he's shooting really good this season. Bulls ain't trading DeMar for one first. Yeah, if they don't, then just keep him. Like if I was Lakers, I'd say just keep him. The fact we haven't pulled the trigger on Cam Reddish tells me Jeannie Buss is incompetent. I want 100% not to trade. Yeah, but it also takes the Knicks doing it. Like the Lakers might have said, sure, done deal. But they could be, you still got like a month before the trade deadline. Like they can be patient. They don't need to rush. That deal is going to be there no matter what. So, maybe you wait and see if another team comes in and says, oh yeah, we'll give you, 2 firsts or whatever. We'll give you a first for them or whatever, because it's like the 30th pick or something. That's a possibility. Plus there's other teams bidding. So they might be waiting for a bidding war. Like Milwaukee trying to get quickly and Reddish. I would rather take Boogie and waive Jokes. He ain't doing and waste space. Yeah, but the problem is you can't waive Jones because you have to pay his 2-year salary. They have him on a 2-year deal. Watching Sabonis absolutely bully Wayne Gabe is why we need another center for depth. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't mind another center. It just depends. Like I said, I just don't think that's the absolute be-all, end-all. Miles Turner or Mo Bamba. I would rather have Miles Turner. I mean, Mo Bamba might have more upside, but I think Miles Turner helps this team more right now. I really want Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah.
when you have a superstar big man, you put skilled players around him, not get 3 more guys that play his position. That's my point exactly. I just think we need more. Um, 80 played the 5 in the bubble because Houston, Miami, small. Dwight was the key. Denver artist series yet. Leave it up to y'all, chat. We'd have 8 centers on the roster.
LOL.
Yeah, well, they'll do whatever it takes to get another star because they messed up. I wouldn't mind Christian Woods. I wish we would have gotten Christian Woods, but they're supposed to be working on a contract. I'd ask about McDaniels, Indiana, about Dwight. I would too. I would love that if that could happen. Would you trade Lonnie Walker and Kendrick Nunn? Yes, depending on what the deal is. Absolutely.
I don't know what I would trade. I don't know that I would trade Walker. None for sure though.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Lonnie Walker is we probably aren't going to be able to keep him. He's going to get paid too much money, and we're not going to be able to retain him. So if you can get something for him now, you might as well. I mean, you don't just trade him, But for this year, yeah. Thomas Bryant is doing exactly what we need from him. Agreed.
So is Schroeder.
Schroeder's stepping up big.
Those two are question marks coming back in, but no, they both put up great numbers.
Yeah. So, we'll get to the last few questions, but to move on to like the next point of topic is so we touched on the Spurs trade a little bit. Now, talk about the Cam Reddish thing, right? Because Cam Reddish. So there were reports that came out that the Knicks are looking for 2 seconds. So if you're the Lakers, easy. We have, which I also think is funny because the report, like, it's just, look, I might be looking into it too much, but it seems kind of funny that like what they want is exactly what the Lakers have this year. The Lakers have 2 first-round picks this year. They have Chicago's 2023 second, and then they have their 2023 second. So you could just send both of those and get Cam Reddish in the deal, which could work. So basically, you just take Kendrick Nunn and go get yourself Cam Reddish, which I'm all for. 6'8", play both forward spots, 3 and D. In my opinion, he hasn't really gotten a fair shot. He's a guy that went to Atlanta, started playing in inconsistent minutes and just an inconsistent role as a rookie. Still shot league average from 3 and averaged 10 points a game. Then they go and get all the vets. All the vets come in, and he's basically odd man out. He gets traded. They end up trading him to the Knicks. The Knicks don't really want him. Tibbs is like don't trade for him. Knicks already trade for him. The Lakers go to try to trade for him. The Lakers essentially had him in a 3-team deal with Toronto, the Knicks, and the Lakers. As they go to file the paperwork, the Knicks get greedy and they want another first, and then the deal falls apart. And now it went from we want a first, we have to get a first for Cam Reddish to we want 2 seconds. Now, there is a lot of questions about just his work ethic and his attitude.
Yeah.
Even dating back to Duke, right? He's always been a guy that's just had questionable work ethic. But the way I look at it is 1, he's young. 2, he hasn't had a fair opportunity. 3, you have LeBron James, Darvin Ham, Russell Westbrook, all these guys that aren't going to let him just be that way, right? So I really think that they have a real fair, or he has a real fair chance to come in, carve a role. Darvin Ham has shown he's not against playing the young guys if you earn it, right? Look at Max Christie. Max Christie earned it, right? And we need the size. So if he can come in and play that role, then that's perfect. Again, play both forward spots. It just gives us size. I think he could be a real addition. He's not a game-changing move. Like you go and get him, all of a sudden you're probably not that much better, if better at all. But it is a deal for now and the future. He's a restricted free agent, so you'd have control over him. So you don't have to worry about him leaving or anything like that. And now you kind of got this like young core of like Max Christie at the 2. You have now you have Cam Reddish at the 3 or the 4. You'd have Austin Reeves, right?
Now we're talking about like second unit, right? Though for Cam.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably come off the bench. Very likely would be my guess. Maybe he starts in certain matchups. If like we're playing like Portland, have him guard Jeremy Grant. If we're playing like the Clippers, maybe have him guard Paul George or whatever. I just think certain matchups, but it just depends on how well he plays. If he comes in and he's great from the jump, because now he feels it's a fresh place, it's a place that wants him. Because he's young. and to go from like, okay, Atlanta doesn't want me. I
Yeah,
come to the Knicks.
he's only 23.
Yeah, he's young. That's what I'm saying. Like he's as young as like half the guys drafted this year. Like, and he like just turned 23, if I'm not mistaken. So like he's young enough to where he still has a lot of upside and he has a lot of like really good just things together, right? Like the opportunity to put things together. So I really think that he's a guy that could make some noise on this Lakers team. But what are your thoughts on Cam Reddish?
I think for right now, it's a no brainer. Especially for just giving up none, two first. It's a good. Sorry. Did I say two first? My bad. Yeah, definitely not doing that. No, 2 seconds. Because the thing is, he's just a good role player. Is what it really buckles down to, and we need good, solid role players. But like role players that are gonna be consistent night in and night out, not like spotty role players like Bev. You know what I mean, or like a Nun, for example, which would be giving up anyway. No, it's a no brainer. It would be interesting though, because this would be his like really first like real opportunity. Because like you said, he's kind of been shipped off, so I'm kind of curious to see what he can do. And he would get plenty of play time, so it would be interesting, and he would be running for us. So I would like to see that. Out of all of our options out there, that's a solid one. I think they should pull the trigger on that.
Well, and you could still do several other deals, right? Like it's so you get it. It really help now and the future, but it's also you also still have a lot of flexibility to go get several other pieces if you need to.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully ideal. But another potential option, which I want to make a video on, I haven't made a video on it yet, is the Toronto Raptors. So the Toronto Raptors have made essentially everyone available. And their asking price is a little ridiculous right now, but as always, those asking prices do come down. They're open to negotiations and conversations. So, like depending on what the trade is. Now, ideally, I would love Gary Trent Jr. I just don't know if we'd be able to get Gary Trent. There were reports of two separate reports of Gary Trent, Fred VanVleet, and Otto Porter Jr. or Chris Boucher or Boucher. Yeah, Boucher. Those three, a combination of those three, but essentially Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent for Russell Westbrook and then the first.
I would love that.
So what are your thoughts on it? And then I'll share mine.
So what about Pascal? Have they not made him available?
There's rumors that maybe him or OG would be available, but the Lakers have no shot at either of those. like Pascal would get a really good return, and OG might even get a better return just because of his age. So yeah, there's no way I see us getting either of those guys. If I'm being honest, I would love it if there is an opportunity to do it, then you do it. But realistically, that's not happening. But so what are your thoughts about now it definitely wouldn't be Otto Porter Jr. because he's out for the season. So I should preference that too. So you're definitely not doing that. So essentially it would probably be Gary Trent, Fred VanVleet, and probably Chris Boucher for Russ and 2 firsts. I don't know if I would give up both firsts for that though.
Well, and if you really think about it, so we're getting 2 point guards and a power forward, 2 small guards. See,
they're both good shooters. And look, if Fred can get back to being like the Fred he was even last year.
But it's weird though. It's 2 point guards. So how are you gonna or do you switch one to the
Gary Trent's a shooting guard. Gary Trent's
that's what I'm saying. Okay, let's say we switch him to the 2. So we're really getting a point guard, a shooting guard.
You basically get a point guard, a shooting. So you have now your starting point guard and your starting shooting guard, right? So you have Fred
second unit. You said you're starting, not because if we're not going to bring.
Here's the thing, Fred is actually kind of a 2 guard more than he is a traditional point guard. But those type of guards have always been good next to LeBron James because LeBron James handles the ball so much. Having a point guard that can shoot really well and play off the ball is a huge bonus for a team for LeBron-led teams, right? So if I would love to have Fred VanVleet and I would love to have Gary Trent, but I just don't think you do both. I don't think you do both first because Fred already turned down a 4-year, $114 million contract, so he wants to get paid, right? Which is like what, 28 million a year or something like that. So he wants to get paid. So if you traded for him, you got to pay him now whatever he wants. So he wants essentially 30 million a year. So now you're talking like 4 years, 120 million, which
That's
I don't
ridiculous.
think he's worth that money.
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Gary Trent Jr. I think is great.
I mean, I get he has a ring,
He's
but
young, he's
jeez.
23, so he's a guy that can shoot the lights out. He can get hot. He could be great for you. But you're gonna have to pay him. He's probably $120 million player. And then if you get Boucher or whatever, like you're locked into so much salary for guys that you're not really sure about. I don't see that.
Well, VanVleet, you can be sure about. My thing is like championship or no championship. I get he's won a ring, but he's not worth that much. I mean, because what'd you say, 30 million?
Roughly, he turned down an offer for 4 years, 114 million. So that means he wants more than that, and that comes out to like 28 million a year. So that means he's got to want at least 30 million a year, right? So
yeah.
So it makes to me I don't like it. Not for one first.
I thought you said two first. I was gonna say one.
Or sorry, two first, not for two.
I was gonna say on one first. I would like that a lot more than I would.
I would consider it. I would consider it for one first because they're pieces that you could have for the long haul. They're still very young, especially Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. being 23, you could find that guy. It's not my favorite trade.
Not to mention Boucher, like he's not like a stud, but he is 6'9". You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and it is a floor space. Like he could help. I'm not really big on him. Again, it's not my favorite trade, right? Like I'd rather try to see what else there is. You definitely get shooting, which would help, but I don't know. I'm not really big on, and I know the first thing people are going to say is like you're going to get more guards, but you probably unload Russ. You're probably going to end up trading Cam Reddish with Kendrick Nunn. So you're not going to have any guards left. So Fred and Gary Trent now makes sense, right? Because you're going to unload Russell Westbrook. Ideally, you try to get them to take Damian Jones too, and then if you did that at that point and you could do it for one first, then I would probably try to take Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker, or Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, or whatever, and that other first, and go get Boyan. So now you really have shooting, but they want a young player, so maybe you do. So ideally, let's say they did the Raptors trade, right? What I would then do, assuming they could pull this off, but do the Raptors deal. You get Fred VanVleet, you get Gary Trent Jr., and you get Chris Boucher for Russ and one first. Then I would take Lonnie Walker, Patrick Beverley, and the other first. Go get Boyan Bogdanovic. Boom. So now you got 3 shooters. You got a sizable wing that could play both forward spots if you need. You got another sizable wing in Chris Boucher who could play the center or he could play the 4. Good. So you got another piece that helps. And then I would take the 2 seconds and Kendrick Nunn, move him for Cam Reddish. So now you got another sizable wing. And now, even post LeBron and post AD, you have Max Christie, you have Gary Trent Jr., you have Fred VanVleet, and you have Cam Reddish as like a core going forward. So that could be pretty good. And the salary cap shoots up in 2025, so those contracts might be a little better. I don't know. I definitely think Trent and Fred fit nicely next to LeBron because, again, Fred is probably closer to a 2 guard than he is a point guard, and those guards always do good next to LeBron. And come playoff time, LeBron's probably handling 90% of the point guard duties. But I don't know. Again, it's not my favorite trade, if I'm being honest.
That would be interesting. It would be interesting to see for sure. For sure.
But so another sort of option possibility, because there are always some. I mean, obviously the DeMar thing that could be a possibility. We'll see how Chicago goes. I'm still not fully convinced Chicago is going to blow it up. They should, in my opinion. I really think they should, but I don't know if they actually will. Although if you can, look, it just seems like a move that the Lakers would make, right? Like it just does. Like that just seems like that just screams like a Lakers trade. Like the Lakers would do whatever they can to get DeMar, especially if you can keep Russ. Maybe because ideally, if you go get DeMar, I want you to trade Russ and the other first and go get whatever you can. Like right, Hornets deal, Spurs deal, whatever. Because now at that point, Russ, DeMar, LeBron, and AD are, in my opinion, are kind of overkill. I think you need more depth. Although it would be kind of fun to see how those four mesh. Like if we were further ahead in the standings, I'd say like, yeah, why not give it a shot for a little while and see what happens. But the other sort of big one, which we haven't really touched on, is obviously the Pacers deal. What are the Pacers going to do? Are they gonna, which now without Miles Turner, it makes sense for them to trade him. If you're the Lakers, there's no way you're giving up both first now. No way.
No.
Because why? Like, you have to unload these guys, or you have to unload Miles Turner. Otherwise, you lose them for nothing. So get it first. Like you do whatever. Like give it. Trade Russell Westbrook, get Patrick Beverley, or get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and give up one first. Again, I'm not big on the Pacers deal. I really don't think the Pacers deal is going to be as big as people think. But if you can get the Pacers deal for one first, it's kind of hard to say no to that, in my opinion. Because then you could go and
one first and Russ, right?
Go do the Boyan trade if you wanted to. Imagine getting Boyan Bogdanovic, Buddy Hield, and Miles Turner for essentially Kendrick Nunn, maybe Lonnie Walker, and you could still do the Cam Reddish trade. So if you could turn Russ, Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, let's say Lonnie Walker, and both first and 2 seconds into Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, Cam
Might have to throw Jones in there.
And Boy. Ideally, I'd love to unload Jones if we can, but I don't know if a team would take him. But even if whether they do or don't, like if you can basically turn, again, like Russ, Bev, Nunn, Lonnie, those four and upgrade those four into Miles Turner, Boyan Bogdanovic, Buddy Hield, and Cam Reddish, I think you do that. I think you do.
Yeah.
Real quick, I got to go grab something 1 second. But what are your thoughts? Tell the audience what your thoughts are.
No, that would be nice. So yeah, that would be nice. My only thing is with getting Miles Turner, there's that whole issue with having like two centers, especially like another center that's going to kind of try to play AD's role. I think they could play along. It wouldn't be too hard of an issue. But my thing is going into the further part of the season, you don't want any like locker room issues, like chemistry. I always say like chemistry plays like such a huge part in winning a championship. And I think if you go get any of these pieces that we're kind of discussing, I think they all have to fit. Like, they can't just be fit like on paper. They have to like fit, because the reason I didn't want to get Russ out of here, like in the beginning of the season, like, well, when like Russ got switched to 6-man, and the reason I said keep Russ here is because of the chemistry. Like we need the chemistry, like 100%. Like we need that on our team because like even just looking at the way he feeds AD the ball right now, like looking at the pick and roll, just looking at that whole like playoff like scheme that they have right now, I think you gotta keep. You definitely. I feel like you see that. I feel like you want to keep Russ, but like I don't know. No, I don't know how like that trade that you just proposed looks so good, but the more I think about like letting go of Russ and the chemistry right now and just the flow, it's hard. You know what I mean? But I mean, hey, like if you got like a Van Fleet in here too, That would add like the championship experience. You know what I mean? That would be huge. So I don't know, but no, I really like that.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's rough.
it is. It definitely is. But all right, let's before we wrap up here, let's jump into some of these questions in the chat. Lakers, Russell Westbrook, Lonnie Walker, MC, 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Raptors. Anunoby, Gary Trent, and Thad Young. I would do anything to get OG Anunoby. I would give basically anybody not named Anthony Davis and LeBron James for OG, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think many teams could outbid us. Also, Dallas said if they can't extend Wood, they're trading him. I don't know if they got the package for him or not, but he's a baller. I would love Christian Wood. I think Christian Wood and Anthony Davis side by side would be fantastic. I wanted Christian Wood so badly before he went to Dallas, and did it. Yeah, Jones is on a 2-year deal, which is crazy. They signed him to a player option, so they can't just waive him, unfortunately. I don't mind having Miles Turner, but I don't want him and AD together. Turner coming in a 3-team trade that moves AD, I'm good with right now. Yeah, I don't see them trading Katie. Cole might be ready. I'm still not huge on Cole Swider. Maybe. I just think he still looks lost at times. Miles Turner is doing well because he plays 4 guards around him and shoots well and plays fast. Who does that remind you of? Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Ham zone is effective. I wanted us to run it against Denver. We should have done it more. Trevor Lane is going live in a little bit. Hopefully one day you guys make a video together. Yeah, a lot of people want me to go on Lakers Nation. I get that a lot in my channel. Look, I would love it. I think Lakers Nation is great. Trevor Lane, I think is great. I don't even think he knows who I am. I don't think he even knows, anything about me. But, like I've said it before, you guys are in his live streams or in his videos, comment, tell him to let me on. You guys have the power. I'm sure if enough people tell him, bring Tyler from As It Stands Lakers on, I'm sure it'll be undeniable. You can't say no. But I would love it if I ever got a chance. I'm not feeling Braun at 45 million, AD at 40 million, Turner at 30 million plus. These guys will rarely play together. All 3 stay in and out of the lineup. That's a concern of mine too. That's one of my biggest concerns is Miles Turner's injury history. It really is. But someone riddle me this: why, when AD can easily guard 3s and 4s, but they can't guard him, would you put him against 5s to Bane and get hurt? I get speeding things up or closing games out with AD at the 5, because you don't want AD guarding 3s and 4s for 40 minutes a game. That's a quick way to get him hurt, which he has gotten hurt in the past because of that. Like AD's gotten hurt, period. Like it's him guarding, because most 5, like we're not in an era where 5s are Shaq. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we're that
Charles Barkley.
Like Embiid and Joker are probably the only ones that like are really that kind of, bang type guys. But even then, most centers in the league nowadays, not a big deal. Look, Anthony Davis has gotten hurt at the 4. He's gotten hurt at the 5. No matter how you shake it, if he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, injury-prone guys are injury-prone guys. I would love SGA, but there's no way they're trading us. There's no way we're getting SGA the way he's playing. I think there's a lot
Westbrook, Reeves, and 2 firsts. Jeez.
I still don't think so. I actually think that that's worth it, but I don't see them doing that. From DR, dude, what's up? How are you, Francisco? Appreciate you.
What's up?
Welcome. That is such a myth. AD has gotten hurt just as much playing the 4 as the 5. There's almost no banning on the interior. Yeah, exactly, Sammy. With the 100%. That's basically what I just said. There's no correlation with position and injury, bro. None at all. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the position he plays. He just gets hurt. He gets hurt. I think we wait on the Raptors' decision and see if we can at least pull off Fred, OG. We'll get a Donovan Mitch pack. Yeah, there's no. I do not see a scenario where we land OG or Siakam. I don't. Honestly, I think they should trade Siakam and keep OG because OG is age. But
I want Siakam so bad.
I would love Siakam. Love Siakam. I really would. I would trade for Siakam 10 times out of 10 times. I would
Yeah, to
love
be honest, I feel like that's what they thought Gabriel was gonna be. I feel like they
yeah,
thought like I think he could maybe in the future,
yeah,
but I think that's what they thought like when Gabriel was gonna be like a Siakam.
yeah. I can understand that. But yeah, Jonathan Isaac, like the problem is that there's no reason for Orlando to trade him right now because he hasn't played in 2.5 years. So like they're not going to get any value for him. But for whatever reason, if Orlando was like, "Hey, we just want to unload Jonathan Isaac," we want 2 seconds. If you're the Lakers, you do that immediately. That
Yeah,
guy, Jonathan Isaac, if he can get healthy, that's the big concern. But if he can get healthy, that guy was looking like the next like great power forward. He was fantastic. But injuries, man, poor guy. If he's at the 4, he still has to rebound, still has to defend exactly, and he's got to chase around all the younger guys. No way Fred is coming. Remember the cap. Signing Fred leaves you with AD, LeBron, and Fred. No money to fill out the roster. Please stay focused on the needs, wins, and shooting. Look, you wouldn't get just Fred. Like they're not going to do just Fred. Or if they do, then they're getting they're making like other deals. Are we really discussing adding other guards? Like I said, they would unload all their guards. So you'd unload your guards to get upgraded guards. We got to find some good players on long-term salaries. Agreed. We need that, and that's why like I'm for them doing a trade rather than them, waiting till the offseason because you're just not going to you're going to sign one guy and then there's all your salary cap, right? Like if you can get 3-4 players now, you do it now because that's your team for the next at least until LeBron's done.
yeah.
So yeah, we really need to start signing 10 to 15 million role players enough. With the max or close to max contracts that leaves us no depth. Yeah, agreed. I'd add Van Vliet if we got 2 other wins. Yeah, it would have to be multiple guys.
Yeah.
It would have to be like you can't just trade for Van Vliet, especially because with the amount of money that he wants. The Raptors have a boatload of wings, and we are discussing Van Vliet and Gary Trent. Come on, because they're the ones that they're trading. They're the expiring. And they're not going to trade it. Like we'd have to give up more than what we have. That's the only problem. Guys, if Jeremy Grant were just floating around available, you obviously would go get that. They are not. I would love that, but yeah, it comes down to what are teams willing to trade. What are teams willing to give up? I mean, there's a lot of players that I would love to see on the Lakers. And I'm not talking about star play. I'm talking about role guys. But
yeah,
how realistically are they to be traded and traded to us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
Remember, if you really think about it, we don't have much to offer. Like,
yeah.
How many teams are really out there like, oh, I can't wait till I get Pat Bev? Like, if they're not trying to clear salary, then like, you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have much to offer except for Russ, which is the big hole in the salary per se.
That's the thing. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I agree with you. Remember the money, please. There is salary cap. You have to fill a roster. But that's the problem. The Lakers don't have any salary cap. Like, you're going to sign one guy, and then there's all your salary cap. Maybe 2 guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, if the Lakers can do a trade, like if the Lakers could get Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. and like Chris Boucher, then that's 3 guys that at least you have on the roster for the next several seasons, right? Like who are they going to sign in the offseason? Like Gary Trent? Go trade for him now and get his bird rights and sign him, right? I mean, that's the problem is that like they don't have $100 million in salary space, right? They have 30, maybe 32 million in salary space. And that's if they renounce everybody, right? And that's also hoping that Damian Jones doesn't tack in. I mean, if you take in cap holds, you take in everything into account, the Lakers don't really have a lot of salary space. They're going to sign one guy, and that's it. Like maybe you get 2 guys. Realistically, you're not going to get this huge turnaround. You're not going to get – that's the problem that the Lakers are in, is that, like, even if Russ just goes, we're not going to be able to build a full roster. So if you can make trades now that are pieces that make sense, right? Like if you could just go sign Gary Trent and that's it, why, when you could trade for Gary Trent and get Fred VanVleet and get Chris Boucher in the same deal, and now you got at least 3 pieces with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and now you're trying to, now you're using your biannual, your mid-level. You're using whatever vet minimums you got. Maybe you could retain some guys. You maybe get early birds, whatever. Right? Like that's the thing. They don't have a ton of money long term.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to Boyan. Got your future though. Reddish, Turner, Young help now and the future. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you can get pieces that do both things, then you do it. We already have Braun, Gabriel, JTA, and Brown Jr. We just need two more. We can add Reddish for a couple seconds and sign Mo Harkless in free agency. Yeah, but I do not trust Brown and JTA. And Gabriel's more of just like
I was gonna say, where did JTA and Gabriel?
Like those aren't the guys that you're counting on in the regular season, right? Like those
I was like wondering where they came into the conversation. I could see Brown, but like I could see Brown to it, even to the extent with that one, but like Gabriel and JTA,
they're not like they're fine. They're fine for the regular season. Like they're great in what they do.
Barely. Like we're talking like they're barely playing above like Beverly and like
JTA can't give you more than like 3 points a game. He's been great defensively. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take anything away.
Well, JTA is averaging like 2, like you said, 2 points a game. I think 2.2 is what he's averaging.
Yeah, the guy can't score. The guy can't do anything. Right, like, and Gabriel is great. He's a great hustle player. He's great in spots, but he's not a guy that you're relying on. And then, Brown is young, hit or miss. He might have good nights. He might have bad nights. I don't know if those are the guys that
Gabriel's good on defense, but he's everywhere. You know what I mean? He's a little bit
yeah. Against Dallas in the playoffs, Boyan gave Luka the most issues in their series, even though Luka is still cooking them. Yeah, dude, Boyan's not as bad defensively as people make him out to be. But take Jones to fill out the salaries. I would love, or Spurs will take out Jones. I wouldn't mind them if they'll take it. It's just, it's already an uphill climb. Let's see, Bev and a first round pick unprotected for Boyan and Sadiq Bey. You'd have to give more than Bev and none. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. If only, I would love that. If that could happen and they would do that, I would absolutely love that.
Sadiq Bey.
That's the other issue. They've built chemistry that you can't just get back if you trade everyone. Agreed. But it's also easier to implement role guys than it is like stars. And again, it's not just about this season. You get guys that you can have for the long haul. Like the chemistry is great, but 90% of these guys aren't going to be here next season. No way I'd give an unprotected first for Boggy. Stop it. It's not like the Lakers have many options, and at least you have them for the next several seasons. And the guy's shooting like the lights out this season. I'd take the Spurs trade, then go get Reddish. I wouldn't mind the Spurs trade.
I'm telling you, it's going to come down to a 2-teamer. Like just one trade. We're probably going to make 2. Like we're probably going to do.
You almost have to. You almost have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because if any trade that you out there you're looking at, like, all right, let's take the Spurs trade, or let's take like whatever trade you take. You look at that trade and say, okay, but we still need like no one trade from one team fills out all of our needs, and that's it sucks, but
yeah, agreed. But yeah, I agree with you, Gary, and most teams would be rebuilding at this point. They have to trade Russ because we don't have money. Much how are we going to pay Austin? Much like how you're going to pay Bryant. Much how you're going to pay Walker. Whenever you sign, subtract it from 13 months. Yeah, exactly. But the problem is you can't just trade Russ just to trade Russ. You can't just unload him just for the sake of unloading him. If you can find a deal, then yes, I'm not against them, doing that, because you can't just take into account this season. You have to take this and the next several seasons. I have a weird feeling that New York are going to attach Fournier to Cam Reddish, and the Spurs will end up with Fournier in a 3-team deal with the Lakers. I mean, hey, you never know. It could be a possibility. Work out some kind of 3-team deal. But I don't know why the Spurs would want to take Fournier, unless the Knicks are attaching a first to it. Except Book. Book is having a better season than Miles on a cheaper deal. Yes.
Wait,
30 points a game.
Brooke as in like Book or Brooke?
They're having a conversation with each other.
Oh, okay.
SGA 30 points per game, but the trade is kind of scary. Don't know. Dude, I would love him. I just don't ever see us actually being able to. I seriously hope Portland finally realizes that Dame is rotting in Portland and trades him because Lakers, I would cry. I would absolutely love that, but I just don't see Dame.
He needs to get out of there. Like, oh my
He
goodness, we've
does.
talked about it. We
Even if
talked
he
about it.
doesn't
But
go to
wait,
Lakers, like I want to see him go somewhere where he can win a chip. He deserves it, but
yeah, like
it's the whole
it's
loyalty.
it's kind of like how Kevin Durant just needed to get out of OKC. Like, he really needs to get out of Portland. Like,
He
it's
does.
just it's yeah.
He ain't gonna leave, unfortunately. Um, I like Trent. I use him a lot in daily fantasy, and he seems to put up 24 to just about every game. He is. He's very solid, dude. Last season, he like was second in the league in like 30-point games. That means no match.
He reminds me of a player, but I just kept my thumb on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're probably losing. We're definitely losing Lonnie, in my opinion. Reeves, I think, is hit or miss. Christie, they have options on Christie. Like they can work Christie in. Assuming Russ won't stay, you almost have to go the third route with this roster. Yeah, kind of, and that could be why they're looking at trying to get a. Oh, you talk about Brooke Lopez.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was having a conversation with somebody else. That I just picked it up. What you guys think about a Spurs trade? Then go get rich. I'm all for it. I'm not against it at all. Plus, you get the trade exception, so you can use the trade exception and pull some other deal off. If you could do that, do it. JTA was actually the 11th man on the Warriors. I was like, exactly. That's my point. I wouldn't really be counting on him. Those four will easily. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely guys on this team that they'll be able to keep beyond that. But I don't know. How much will Bryant get in the offseason? He gets at least $15 million a year. I wouldn't be surprised if a team pays him more, especially the way centers have been like going and getting traded for and stuff like that. I think he's at least $15 million plus a year.
We need to hold on to Bryant, like if we can.
We do. I really wish we could. He was trying to compare us with the Bucks and why we should get Miles. Oh, okay, yeah. Got it. Well, we're at the end of the chat. Any parting words before we get on out of here?
This is I don't know what's coming, but yeah, whatever trade we make is going to be very, very interesting because yeah, just know that this is going to be one of the biggest trades in NBA history.
They're just going to blow our mind. No, but I appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel on the way out. Please just take a second, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, like the video if you haven't liked the video, and all that stuff. I will see you all tomorrow on the As It Stands Lakers channel. I will do the post-game stream, all that stuff, and have a good time as always. But in the meantime, we will see you all in the next one.